Welcome to the November 2024 edition of Hunt Camp Mail. Most of the country is right in the middle of deer, upland, and waterfowl season right now, and it's just a great time to be a hunter. This is a month where I did some really weird videos, in my opinion. I took you to Sangamon on an epic fantasy hunt in the Pleistocene. Unfortunately, that video kind of flopped. Then I exposed my political and religious beliefs to everyone. And finally, I gave your wives a Christmas list. Christians condemned me to hell. Critics compared me to Ray Bradbury. Trump haters called me ignorant. Your toilet secrets were revealed to your wife. And Ruger is being flooded with letters demanding production of the MMBG rifle. What a month. But I did get a lot of great mail this month, so let's get this party started. Our first letter for the month of November is from Vincent in New York. Vincent wrote, "You should seriously write an entire book about your hunting the Pleistocene video. I have listened to it 10 times since you posted it, and I find it captivating. If not, at least make a part 2 to that video. It's very rare that we get hunting fiction where all the little technical details are correct, from cartridge choices to working the wind to tracking, and what it's like to experience the crack of a gunshot in a quiet forest. Even the fly fishing segment was exhilarating. Also, your details about the wildlife and location of Sangamon are scientifically correct. Your time travel narrative was intelligent and convincing. Also, hidden details like the Paris Firearms Agreement, using credits for money, and level A citizenship status give us a glimpse into a future dominated by a Marxist ideology. You are a genius for including rules for time travel in your story so it doesn't become overcomplicated and let the viewer's mind wander off topic. Please write a book about this or make a part 2 to the current video. You are a talented writer." Well, I'm glad you enjoyed the video, Vincent, and thank you very much for the kind letter. And, thank you for noticing those subtle little details in the story. You're a very perceptive person. It's really hard to create a backstory explaining how time travel exists while, giving some great hunts, focusing on characters, adding some drama and an emotional element to the video, and providing an interesting ending, and doing all of this while packing the whole thing into a half-hour-long video. I actually wrote a script for that video that was twice as long or longer. And it included a hunt for a now extinct longhorn bison. It had a sex scene in it, and a scene that kind of hinted that humans may have inhabited North America much earlier than we thought. And, it went through the implications were that to be true. So a lot of the script was withheld from that video in order to meet my 30-minute goal for it. My channel analytics indicate that most viewers will stop watching my videos around the 30-minute mark. And, in the end, though, that video got very few views anyways, especially for the amount of time and effort it took to make it. And our next letter is from Leon, or Leon. You didn't say where you were from, Leon or Leon, so I'm just going to pronounce it Leon. Leon wrote, "Take a look at the custom 98 Mauser that was built for me by Musgrave in South Africa. The rifle features hand-checkered Turkish walnut, and it is chambered in 7x57. I hope you like it." And here's some pictures of Leon's absolutely beautiful Musgrave rifle. Wow. All I have to say is that is a gorgeous rifle. And I wish we had access to Musgrave rifles here in the United States. I love that stock shape, the barrel profile, and the awesome Mauser action that it's built on, and that deep bluing. That's what a hunting rifle should look like, in my opinion. I just love the looks of that thing. I do know a PH named Peter in South Africa who owns a Musgrave built on a VZ24 action chambered in 30-06. And he absolutely treasures that rifle. And I could see why. And he let me handle it. And the balance and the weight of that Musgrave rifle built on that VZ24 action was just perfect for a hunting rifle, in my opinion. I mean, that thing was pure joy to handle and shoot. I noticed that you have that flag safety on the left side, so it looks like it's kind of a Parker Hale style safety, two-position safety for a scoped rifle. You know, if I had the option of a Model 70 wing style three-position safety instead, I'd be all over that rifle. It's almost perfect. But, you know, some guys do prefer that flag style safety. I know some that hate the three-position wing safety, and they prefer that, especially if it's on the other side like a Bueller-style safety. But Musgrave really needs to get an American distributor ASAP too, so I can get one of those too. And our next letter is from James in Damascus, Virginia. James wrote, I wanted to know if any of your viewers have witty nicknames for the rifles or shotguns. Some of mine are Ursa Major for my Marlin 4570, Ursa Minor for a Marlin 44 Magnum, and Auto Cinco for a Browning Auto 5. It might be fun for other viewers to send in nicknames they could share on Hunt Camp Mail. Well, I honestly only, out of the hundreds of guns I own, I don't even know how many I own, I only have 2 guns that actually have nicknames. I have a Glock 23 that I've carried every day for 25 years, and I call that my little thug slayer. And of course, my Winchester Model 70 Safari Express and 416 Rem Mag is named Winnie. But like I said, out of the hundreds of firearms I own, those are the only 2 with nicknames. But I know guys that give just about all their guns cute little nicknames. But I've always viewed guns as tools or collector items, you know, that don't really impart an emotional attachment from me. So I'm just not really into giving a lot of guns nicknames. But I do find the subject interesting, so let's play the game. Put the nickname of your favorite gun in the comment section below and share it with the group. I've heard some great nicknames over the years, so I'm expecting nothing less of my viewers. But let's be honest here. It's going to be hard to beat Lil Thug Slayer. And our next letter is from Zach in Arizona. Zach wrote, my sons and I are getting ready for a Cape Buffalo hunt this summer, and I put a Trijicon Credo 1-4x24 scope on my Model 70 Safari Express in Tally QD mounts. The problem I'm having is that if I'm working the bolt fast, I tend to brush my knuckle of my thumb against the rear of the scope. If I have the power cranked up, I really whack the knob on the magnification adjustment ring. I realize that I'm unlikely to have the scope dialed up in cases that I will be working the bolt really hard, but it's still annoying. I've seen a Trijicon scope on one of your Model 70 Safaris and was wondering what bases you are using or would recommend. Maybe I have a crappy technique. Well, Zach, this is the exact same rifle with the exact same scope you have mounted on it. So this is pretty much a clone of what you have. This scope is also positioned perfectly for eye relief with my personal cheek weld on it. And I don't think I've ever hit my knuckle on the scope while cycling this bolt, even in stressful hunting situations. In fact, I think this scope is pretty low profile compared to most similar scopes, in my opinion. First of all, you mentioned whacking your hand on the knob when the power is cranked up. And 3-gun shooters like these little, I don't know if you can see that, these little levers that you can hang on to and move the magnification ring around. But honestly, these little levers have no place on a bolt-action hunting rifle, in my opinion. You know, this lever is removable. See, I just took it off right there. And you should take it off for your dangerous game gun. That alone will eliminate most of your problems, probably. And so you could still easily move the magnification ring without this little stupid tactical knob on it. The second issue is probably technique related, like you alluded to. Make sure you're using the straight wrist technique when you're cycling a scope rifle with a 90-degree bolt throw. See this? See how I grab it like that? Watch. I'm not rotating my thumb up. If I do that, if I rotate my hand up, my knuckle is going to hit the scope with any rifle I use. You don't do that. You basically hold it on the same plane like that, lift and back. And I've never got a knuckle buster with this scope and rifle combo. And actually, I don't really think I've ever gotten a knuckle buster with any of my scoped rifles. So definitely check out that technique. But just be sure not to bend your wrist when you lift the bolt, because this will put your knuckles into any scope that has a 90-degree bolt throw, like most rifles with a two-lug Mauser-style claw extractor like your Model 70 has. And our next letter is from Bill from Big Stone Gap, Virginia. Bill wrote, I live in a very small town in the Virginia mountains called Big Stone Gap. I discovered YouTube in 2020 during the pandemic and came across your uploads. I found myself binge watching them for hours at a time. Winchester definitely needs to sponsor you, as I purchased Model 70s in 30-06, 300 WSM, 375 H&H, and 416 Rem Mag. I've always been a Remington man, but watching your demonstrations of the advantages of the controlled round feed action won me over to the Winchester Model 70. I've also started hand loading as well. Of course, one of your uploads persuaded me to purchase a Mech Marksman press as well. You often mention weight sorting some brands of brass. How close do you want to see the weights of your brass from piece to piece? And thank you for the letter, Bill. And I believe you're probably the first person to ever write me from Big Stone Gap, Virginia. I don't know what the population there is, but I've actually never heard of that. You know, I doubt Winchester's ever going to sponsor me. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the Model 70, but I'm very critical of other things Winchester makes or does. But back to your question about brass. When weighing brass, it's best to sort it when it's brand new. By the lot, too. Keep your lot numbers together. And I like to do this before it gets stretched out and trimmed. Hunters used to say that a good batch of brass has an extreme spread of less than 3% by mean case weight. But most precision shooters think that anything over 1% off is totally unacceptable. But for hunters, weight sorting usually doesn't matter for a rifle that shoots, 1.5 MOA on a good day. But I personally do like to take my time to make highly precise ammo, even for hunting. It's not always necessary to do that, but, I just like making the best hunting ammo I can possibly produce, and I don't mind taking my time doing that. But for your average hunting rounds like 25-06, 7mm 08, 30-06, 35 Whelen, cartridges like that, I want my brass extreme spread to probably be less than a couple of grains. And this is almost impossible to achieve with cheap Winchester, Remington, or Federal brass, without sorting it out. If you get good Norma or Leupold brass or, some of the other high-end brass manufacturers, it's usually not an issue, and you'll learn just not to weight sort that stuff anymore for precise hunting ammo. But like I said, I do buy quality brass. I don't buy the cheap stuff. And I found it to be within my tolerances, and I just no longer sort that brass anymore, but that's just me. And our next letter is from Alan. And once again, Alan didn't say where he was from. Alan wrote, do you think that the Leupold Mark IV would be a more robust and durable scope than the VX5 HD? I'm still agonizing over which scope to get for my all-purpose Model 70 and 30-06. I would get the SHV 3-10, but I really don't want to use a rail to mount it. The Mark IV 2.5-10 has 6 inches of mounting space. And I feel your pain, Alan. You know, usually I have a cutoff when I put a rail on a hunting rifle. Basically, if I'm using like non-magnum ammo, smaller ammo, I don't mind the rail right there. But if I'm using big magnum cases, or if it, you know, a potential life or death situation, like it's a dangerous game rifle, I do not like that full length rail going across the receiver opening. So I feel your pain on that. But I don't own that exact scope that you're planning on buying. So I can't comment on that, but I did see an article by Rockslide where they bought 3 of those exact same scopes for testing, and 2 of them were fine, and 1 of them wouldn't hold 0 at all. And if you watch Backfire just posted a video of a Mark scope losing 0 basically during one of his recent hunting trips, causing him to miss a really nice buck and go home empty-handed. You know, I understand that, you know, you need more real estate on the scope tube than a scope like that Night Force offers, but I personally don't trust the Mark series of Leupold scopes either anymore. You know, I'd probably go with a Trijicon or maybe a Steiner Predator, or, you know, one of the Zeiss V4 scopes in that same price range before trusting a Leupold again. You know, they just don't make hard use hunting scopes anymore, in my opinion. And, you know, if you followed me for years on this channel and for years on my previous channel that got deleted, you'd know that I've been a Leupold fan since I bought my first Leupold scope in 1991. But, you know, I'm pretty much done with them now. And, you know, whatever they did a few years ago, I don't know what it was, but quality over there at Leupold has suffered badly because of it. And our next letter is from Hang from Monterey Park, California. Hang wrote, I enjoy watching your YouTube channel. One of the reasons I'm getting into hunting is that I love the outdoors. Are there any mentorship programs and or experienced hunters that I can learn from? I have 0 hours in the field. I was looking into a guided hunt, but it was a little pricey. More importantly, I want to learn about being a proper hunter. I love your lectures on YouTube. I watch many YouTube videos about hunting, but your thoughts, beliefs, and understanding are much more important than those of other YouTube hunters. Well, thank you for the kind letter and the kind compliments, Hang. But almost no hunter in this state, or no hunter in probably any state, is going to show a stranger their favorite public land hunting spots. It's just not going to happen. It just takes so much work finding public land that holds pigs here in California, and then driving and hiking for countless hours in that area, actually finding where the pigs are. 99% of the pigs in California are on private land, you know, where they have reliable food and water sources and very little hunting pressure. So hunting public land for pigs is very difficult, and it also takes lots of luck. There is a program, though, for new hunters to learn, and it's called hiring a guide. In my opinion, hiring a guide to learn the fundamentals of hunting is probably money well spent. A guide taking you on private land to hunt will usually help you help that hunt be successful. I think you need a successful hunt. You need to experience a successful hunt in order to learn. So I think that's a good learning experience. And if you tell your pig hunting guide that you want to learn how to hunt as you go, they'll gladly explain everything to you as they do it, including how to field dress your animal. In the big picture, learning to hunt from a guide is much cheaper than spending years wandering around in the hills trying to learn yourself. And our next letter is from longtime viewer Joshua. Joshua wrote, "Please do a hunter safety series. My wife's best friend's mom just fell out of her tree stand and was airlifted to the hospital. She has a fractured pelvis and broken spine. I won't hunt out of those damn things." Well, tree stands are the most dangerous things in the hunting world by far. They're far more dangerous than any firearm or wild animals while you're out hunting. It's not uncommon for 500 hunters to die every year in the United States from falling out of tree stands. By contrast, less than 100 hunters die from gunshot wounds each year in the United States. In total, well over 6,000 people are seriously injured every year from tree stands in this country, which eclipses any other cause of hunters being injured. If you add up all the deaths from wildlife attacks in the United States each year, and this includes bears, sharks, snakes, wolves, and mountain lions, only about 12 people die every year from these predatory animals. But tree stands might kill 500 hunters next year. Most of these injuries result from inadequate safety practices or poorly maintained equipment. And most hunters still refuse to use proper fall protection when they get into a tree stand, which I don't understand. I'll admit some of these injuries are just bad luck, but most of them can be avoided. And our next letter is from Cody. Cody wrote, "I watched your videos on the 35 WHELEN. I too own a WHELEN, a Remington 700 custom shop with a Kevlar stock. I've become interested in going to Africa, primarily for Cape buffalo. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm not seeing a minimum caliber for Cape buffalo in Mozambique, which is where my taxidermist recommends I go. He refers to it as the Africa of old. Do you think the 35 WHELEN, hand-loaded hot, with a 225 grain TSX, A-frame, or some other bullet would be enough for buffalo? I know your philosophy is don't choose the minimum, but a 225 grain pill at 2,800 feet per second is no slouch. Not only would being able to use my 35 save me the cash of having to buy a 375, but the gun also has some sentimental value. Don't hold back and let me know what your thoughts are." Well, Cody, if you know me, I'm not going to hold back. Americans want to go to Africa and kill dangerous game with everything from crossbows to spears. In South Africa, they'll probably let you throw rocks at Cape buffalo if you pay them enough money to do so. I saw a video of a guy in South Africa unloading a .357 Magnum revolver into a buffalo, and it was just sad. Wild buffalo are noble and dangerous creatures that deserve enough respect from hunters to warrant a quick and humane death. Using an appropriate cartridge to hunt them is part of that respect, in my opinion. Hunting with an appropriate cartridge is also respectful to your PH trackers and your hunting party, who have to risk their lives by going into really thick brush to track your wounded buffalo. And when you use a small caliber or a cartridge that is of a lower power threshold, you're willingly putting your hunting party in danger. Don't be one of those guys who say, Bill killed elephant with a 7mm. You know, if you want to compare your ethics to that of a colonial era African ivory hunter, so be it. Just don't expect that to be the popular view among ethical hunters today. And, you talk about going to Africa. loaded with your load loaded really hot. I wouldn't do that either. I always actually download some of my rounds when I take them to Africa because I want that that extreme reliability in my cartridges when I hunt dangerous game there. Energy and cartridge minimums for African dangerous game hunts were put into place for the benefit of the animals and humans. You know, they don't randomly make these rules up. You're already paying for an expensive buffalo hunt in a place like Mozambique, so why not just spend a little bit of extra money and get a used 375 H&H? But this whole discussion is a moot point anyways, because Mozambique got sick of all the wounded animals and changed their hunting laws a few years back, and your 35 WHELEN is no longer legal for hunting buffalo in Mozambique. Now, the minimum caliber for buffalo hunting there in Mozambique is 375. And Mozambique also made it illegal to hunt buffalo, hippo, elephant, I think some other animals with archery equipment. So they really are making efforts to enhance hunting ethics to protect the lives of the PHs and the trackers in the field that are taking you on these hunts. So change your thought process on this, Cody, and use an appropriate cartridge for Cape buffalo. And our next letter is from Richard in Cheshire, the UK. Richard wrote, "Dear Desert Dog, having just returned from chapel after too much communion wine, do I find myself compelled to write yourself an email. Occasionally, my faith is completely restored in humankind. Today provided myself with one of those all too rare moments, having watched your most recent content. They say never meet your heroes. Unfortunately, or fortunately, for myself, depending on your viewpoint, Robin Hood and Lieutenant Commander Data are currently unavailable for engagements. According to their agents, they are likely to remain so for the foreseeable future. Though I am not quite at the point where I'm likely to tattoo your likeness on my chest, I do feel it would be quite something to make your acquaintance. Regrettably, distance and my daily doses of lithium will likely prevent this. I apologize for the brevity of my message, but I'm just off to read some more satire. Keep the great content coming, mate." Well, Richard, I feel like I failed at my duties as an influencer. I had you right on the precipice, one video away from getting my likeness tattooed on your chest, only to let you fall back into delusions of Lieutenant Commander Data. I vow to work harder so this glorious mug can one day adorn your body, Richard. And our next letter is from John in Georgia. John wrote, "I listened to your recent YouTube post regarding religion and politics. Thank you for sharing with your fans. Like you, I don't think anyone has to share such information if they do not feel compelled to do so. I enjoyed your perspective and could care less if your thoughts or beliefs do not align with mine. I wish everyone was like that. Then the value of what we say could be realized and perhaps edify all who hear it. Keep on being you, as I don't think anyone will stop you, and I'll keep tuning in. Thank you for the great advice, knowledge, and experience you share with your audience." Well, thank you for the kind letter, John. I believe that intelligent people can spot fake personalities and disingenuous beliefs from a mile away. Although I was raised by genuine salt-of-the-earth people, I didn't really learn to be authentic in a church or a school. I actually learned it in business. When I worked for a big Fortune 500 company, I watched all those kiss-ass middle managers with their phony personas try to climb over each other all day. And I found success by taking a bit different path by being me. And our next letter is from Max in West Texas. Max wrote, "Your last Africa hunt was the type of hunt I want to do. A real wild free-range area. My goal is to kill a large maned lion with my bow. I called the outfitter you used and was told that bow hunting is illegal in parks and safari areas of Zimbabwe, and it's only legal on private land if the owners agree to it, and many do not. I don't want to hunt a South Africa canned hunt for lion or shoot one on a fenced-in property. Those aren't lions to be proud of, in my opinion. So I contacted outfitters in Tanzania and Mozambique, and they told me the same thing, illegal in hunting areas. Why are so many countries against hunting dangerous game with a bow in Africa?" That's a fair question. But technically, for what you want to do, your only option right now is Zambia. You know, but I hear that even in Zambia, they're considering possibly banning archery hunts for the dangerous 7. But like I stated earlier in this video to the guy who wanted to hunt Cape buffalo with his .35 WHELEN, when you wound a lion or a buffalo, your trackers have to go after it in really thick brush, unarmed, and many of them die every year following up on wounded dangerous game. Archery equipment and subcalibers just don't have a good reputation for killing dangerous game quickly. I'm sorry, that's the truth. And African countries got sick of burying their own dead and sending Americans back home in coffins. So they made minimum energy requirements or caliber requirements for safety reasons. On most of those hunts anyways, the broadhead will rarely actually kill the beast, and it's usually the PH backing up with his rifle that actually kills it. So, I mean, how authentic of a hunt is that anyway? But here's some video on probably why you can't hunt a lion with a bow in most African countries.
Next time he turns, I'll shoot.
Satu pitää. Skitom vielä, skitom. Okei, moi. Okei. Okei. Okei.
And our next letter is from Paul in Washington. Paul wrote, "I've been watching your channel for 4 years. Your politics and religion video resonated with me more than any other video you did. We all knew you were a smart guy when it comes to hunting, fishing, and guns, but as with other YouTubers, I felt like I never really knew you as a person. Now I do. You laid it all out, and I feel like this is the only channel with a real person behind the camera. The comments to that video are what perplexed me. You clearly stated that you are not a Christian, yet Christians flooded the comments with Bible quotes and attempted to convert you. Did you find that disrespectful? I did. I believe in Jesus, but respect the beliefs of others. My sister became a reborn Christian last year, and she would inject Bible quotes into every conversation and constantly on social media posts, even on other people's pages. She got so ridiculous that everyone blocked her on social media. Keep up the good work, and I can't wait for the next video." Yeah, unfortunately, I know people like that, and I even have somebody close to me in my own family that's like that. Everybody keeps telling him, you know, please stop, and he just refuses to. But that was a very kind letter, and I thank you for it. But like I stated in the intro to that politics and religion video, for some odd reason, people constantly were wanting to know my personal beliefs. So, you know, I exposed myself to the wolves. I lost over 100 subscribers in the days following that video. So if you're a YouTube influencer out there, I don't recommend that you make a video like that if you want to grow your channel. But you're right. I did reveal that I'm not a Christian in that video. And it was just flooded with Bible verses in the comment section. And, you know, I removed them. It was ridiculous. But I love Christians. but y'all need y'all need to learn how to use social media. Constantly posting Bible verses is very annoying. You're not going to convert a non-Christian by posting Bible verses. And you're trying to teach other Christians things that they already know. Some people think that quoting Bible verses makes them look smart or witty, but in reality, it kind of shows an inability to form your own thoughts and logic on a subject. So I love my Christian friends, but you guys need to stop with all the random Bible verses. And our next letter is from Victor in San Jose, California. Victor wrote, I just got my hunting license last summer, and I wanted a rifle and shotgun to cover all my hunting needs. I bought a new Remington Fieldmaster shotgun in 12 gauge for ducks, doves, and turkey. I also bought a Remington 700 in 308 for deer and pigs here in California. I took the Fieldmaster shotgun out to shoot clays, and it did fine. But then when I started practicing with duck loads, it keeps jamming and empty shells stick in the chamber. Also, the Remington 700 rifle is having the same issue, and sometimes I have to put a cleaning rod in the barrel to force the empty case out. My question is, how do I fix these guns? Well, Victor, the new owners at Rem Arms promised us better quality from Remington than what we got in the past, but I actually think quality has probably gotten worse since they took over. I handled a Fieldmaster at my local Turner store, and the fit and finish on that gun was just horrible, and it had the grittiest action I've ever felt out of an 870. It was horrible. But with your guns, I mean, you could send them back to Remington, but it'll likely get returned to you with the same issue. I mean, research recent customer service issues with the new Rem Arms, and you'll probably see what I mean. And they might tell you it's the ammo. The ammo's the problem, but I guarantee you that a Mossberg or Benelli pump-action shotgun would cycle that ammo perfectly. You should really watch my video titled Remington 870, The Rise and Fall of an American Icon. It sounds like the problem only happens when you use really stout waterfowl loads. So I bet the chamber needs polishing and the extractor might need to be upgraded. On this Remington 700 rifle that you bought, Rem Arms recently, I watched an episode of Ron Spomer Outdoors where Rem Arms sent Ron Spomer a brand new Remington 700 for testing. And after a few shots, the extractor broke. So that might be your issue too. But, I hate to bag on Remington like that. Every time they change ownership, I'm really pulling for them. I mean, I want them to succeed. I want American brands, and American-made products to succeed. But, man, it's getting bad. It just, I hope the best for Remington, but it's just not looking good. And our next letter is from Rick in Virginia. Rick wrote, your recent video about politics and religion made me reflect on my life even more than I already have. I'm in the final months of a long battle with cancer. When you are this close to the end, you realize that all the bickering about religion and politics was pointless. I regret spending so much time worrying about those things rather than putting more effort into my family and exploring this wonderful planet we live on. I've laid here thinking things like, I should have gone on that moose hunt in Alaska. I should have taken my wife to Paris, and I should have spent more time with my grandkids. The end for me isn't a time to worry about Republicans and Democrats or what religion was correct. It's a time to reflect on the quality of life I lived and how my loved ones will remember me. I was a hunter since the age of 12, and spending time in the woods was always my church. I never watched YouTube until I became sick and somebody showed me how to use it. YouTube is an amazing place. I've enjoyed your content over the last 2 years. Thank you for taking the time to make it. Wow. Oh boy. What you're going through right now, Rick, is something that we'll all have to face one day. Every one of us, and there's no avoiding it. And when I'm in my last days, I hope I face it with the dignity and grace that you demonstrate. But, to your point, I ponder life and death all the time. And I think it's a natural part of the human condition and probably the foundation of most belief systems. In fact, I probably overthink the issue. Honestly, I travel a great deal because I know that every new day means that I'm one day closer to not doing it. For those of you saying, I'll get to Africa one day, you're going to regret not doing it when you had your health. So do it now. Probably my greatest fear, though, is that I'll die without passing on the things that I know. My son really isn't interested in hunting and guns to the extent that I am. He loves hunting, likes to shoot guns, but he's just not crazy about it like I am. And, I find myself growing older without grandkids. And, I have a lot of stuff in here. And I guess this YouTube channel is how I cope with passing on my knowledge. But Rick, I feel for you, and you're definitely 100% in my thoughts. And your letter did really touch me. And I'm just honored that you're bringing me along with you in your last months. And maybe I can, put a smile on your face or entertain you a little bit in your final moments. And, I'm sorry this is happening to you. I'm lost for words, man. And our next letter is from Kelly in Sacramento, California. Kelly wrote, I recently bought a Winchester Model 70 chambered in .30-06. I want to shoot 165 grain copper loads. What powder should I use? H4350. Honestly, for that bullet class, the 165 or 168 grain bullets in .30-06, you'll find nothing better than H4350. And the great part about that powder is it shoots precisely out of just about every barrel I've tried it out on, and it exhibits good temperature stability. So I'd buy some H4350. And even if you can't find it at your local store, I know it's really hard to get powder here in California. You can order H4350 right now straight from the Hodgdon website. And our next letter is from Cornbread. I shit you not. It's from Cornbread. Cornbread sent me a picture of an elk that he shot in Montana. And here's Cornbread's elk pic. That elk is going to be some great eating, Cornbread. A bowl of hot elk chili with a side of cornbread sounds really good right now. And I just have to say, Cornbread is one badass nickname. I love it. And congratulations on the elk.
You gotta have that motherfucking cornbread.
And our next letter is from Mark in Des Moines, Iowa. Mark wrote, I just watched your video about dry firing, and I have an important question. I use my BERETTA 686 silver pigeon to hunt pheasants. When the season is over, I clean it and put it back in the original case. Since it cocks when I open it, how am I supposed to pull the triggers when it's taken apart to put it back in the case? Well, after you sent me this letter, I got an itch to shoot one of my silver pigeons, so Nubs and I went out and got limits of quails with our silver pigeons, thanks to you. you definitely don't want to dry fire that gun or, you know, any side-by-side or over and under, in my opinion, with empty chambers on them. Luckily, it's easy to decock a 686 or Silver Pigeon for disassembly, and let me show you how to do it. So I'm going to demonstrate to you how to completely decock and remove spring tension from a BERETTA 686 before storage. And this particular model is a Silver Pigeon 1 Sporting, and this is mainly what I use if I, you know, on the rare occasion I go out and shoot clays. So let me show you what to do here. First of all, you need to open the action and drop in 2 snap caps. Then close the action and take the safety off. If you have an auto safety, remember, take the safety off. Then you're going to pull the trigger on the snap cap. Then go to your barrel selector, switch it to the other side, pull the trigger on the other barrel. Hear that snap right there. Then after that, you're going to remove the forearm. And once you remove the forearm and open the gun, it prevents it from recocking. But with the forearm removed, you're going to open up the action, remove the barrels, take out the snap caps, and this is ready to store in your gun case now. Now, you'll notice that this lever on the top is all the way to the side, and when it does that, it's under spring tension. So a lot of people like to relieve the spring tension on that before they store it. And the way you do that is, you'll see this button right here, this pin coming out of the breech face. You're going to push that in, and that'll let you return the lever to center. And your 686 is ready to store in its original case now, completely decocked with spring tension released. And our last letter is from Sam in Irvine, California. Sam wrote, "Your Christmas gift idea video was brilliant. My wife and daughter have been bugging me for a Christmas list before Black Friday shopping begins, and some of the items in that video were awesome. I never knew about the $10 boonie hat that beats all other boonie hats. I was also looking for a small ham radio to take hunting with me, and you just solved that problem for less than 30 bucks. Please do a video like that before Black Friday every year." You know, I don't know. I just might make it an annual thing. We'll see. But it sounds like you were about to get in trouble for not giving them gift ideas, and I saved your ass. So I'm glad I could help. I know how hard finding inexpensive gifts for hunters can be, you know, especially inexpensive gifts that they'll actually use. And the part about not wanting your family to spend a lot of money on you, I get that too, which is why all the gift ideas in that video were under $100. So who knows, you know, perhaps a cheap gift idea video should be a thing every year. But that's it for this month's Hunt Camp Mail. I thought there were some excellent letters this month, you know, and one highly emotional one. And I want to thank my subscribers for sending me their letters. As you come to expect, here's some memes for the month of November. the cold, wet weather finally arrived, and I noticed that ducks are flying over my house every morning now, which is right in the middle of the Pacific Flyway. So you might see some duck action on my channel next month. I also had a video request regarding being a good tourist, and I thought that was an interesting video idea, so we'll see if something becomes of it. For those of you who are on Swift's waiting list for dangerous game bullets, they did a big run earlier this month, and I hope you got what you needed. I know I did. I keep telling you guys to get on the waiting list for Swift, but no one ever listens to me. But, you know, I scored all the .416, .458, and .375 caliber bullets I might need for the immediate future. So if you weren't on that waiting list and they sold out, sorry, probably going to be another couple of years. But I hope my viewers have a fantastic Thanksgiving this year. And when you're gathered with your family and friends to give thanks this year, please don't fight over politics or religion. Fight over how bad the Dallas Cowboys are and how you shouldn't have to watch them every Thanksgiving. So you could reach me with any questions or comments at desertdogoutdoors@gmail.com. Thank you for watching, and as always, good hunting.